The disturbing reality of AI coding. Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech Support said they're coming out Tuesday. They're going to close that up, guys. So you can stop complaining about it in the comment section. We're going to get that thing closed up. Tech Support said so. Okay, give these guys a like and subscribe. SeniorDev. We're going to listen. I have not previewed this, but I've already pre-liked it. I kind of like the tone of it. The disturbing reality of AI coding. The SeniorDev. And let's see where he goes with this. This is a little bit old, but let's listen in.
So OpenAI just released their latest model, which is at this point O3 Mini, and they are claiming that this model is extremely good at coding. And basically, what they're saying is that on the software engineering,
they always claim that, but every single time they've claimed it so far, we go look into it a little bit. Not quite what they said it was, and they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again. At some point, people are gonna go like, you're gonna have to show something better than just, oh, we got the benchmark, or we got the new thingy dingy. It's like, I think we've seen the top of the S curve now, maybe like a year ago by now, because all these claims of all these things should really be 100% by now. If you really had your own programmers, your expert programmers programming the programmers using these tools, it should be done by now. Come on now, let's keep going.
SWE-bench verified benchmark. It has 49% accuracy, which literally means it can solve 1 in 2 problems. Now, as a developer, it's really exciting, but at the same time, very scary for me. So I decided to go a bit deep. And so the first question that came to my mind was...
Exactly, you go a little deeper and ooh, all the big headlines, all of a sudden,
what is really SWE-bench verified? And going down the rabbit hole, I figured out it's a collection of almost 3,000 open issues in 12 Python repositories, and all of them have literally tests to check the issue status. So what they usually do is they run a model on these issues and see, okay, how well did the model did, because they have unit tests, and they can actually see, okay, was the model able to code a solution that solved the issue?
Yeah,
so we have
this is what we do all day. This has tests even, but do the test everything out properly so you can write the code to know that it's completed or not? Let's keep going.
Typical get issue, and then the model goes through it, solves the problem, and then see, okay, did it pass the test or not? All those were standardized by OpenAI. You can find it on Hugging Face, and you can run this benchmark on any coding model and get your own results.
So, I mean, judging after this, it all seems pretty legit. I mean, you have the open issues, you have your Python code, you have your unit test, and you just look at the percentage. Feels like it can solve 1 out of 2.
Again, when we get into the details, I'm sure I haven't watched this yet, but when we get into the details, it's not quite what we thought it was gonna be.
Should I be worried as a software engineer? What's the catch?
Well, the first thing that came up to my mind is that this test was built by OpenAI, which is
okay.
really kind of sketchy, testing your own model and making claims.
Yeah, of course. Look, the input works. We've tested it. Where did you get the test from? Well, we made up the test too, so I'm not going to mention that.
But the second thing, which is even more surprising, is the quality of the experiment itself. Now, a couple of weeks ago, an independent research team from York University decided to go a bit deeper.
All right, okay, this sounds legit. Let's keep going. I'm surprised this got funded because they know what they're going to find. It's not quite what they said it was going to be. Oh, shocker. So that's not what they said it was going to be? Oh, wow. I am so shocked. Pikachu face.
Into this benchmark, and they found out that the benchmarks were corrupted. Basically, it turns out that from all the
corrupted? The benchmarks are corrupted? You mean OpenAI is lying to us?
Fixes. A lot of them were what they call suspicious, and they
pretty
much were able to classify the suspicious.
That's a nice way of saying it. You guys are lying about this shit.
Fixes into 4 categories. Number 1, it's a solution leak. Number 2, an incorrect fix. Number 3, a solution in a different file, or altogether an incomplete fix.
And if I understand correctly, it means that the model was not that good at solving issues. But what does this solution leak mean?
Sure, let's break them down. So a solution.
Yeah, this whole thing about the marketing blurbs being like, oh my God, it's the most amazing thing ever. And then all of a sudden, if you take 2 weeks and look into it past the headlines, everyone's like twittering like, oh my God, we're all going to die. We're all going to get out of our jobs. Oh my God. And you look into it, it's like, they're lying about all this. Wow, look at them, a big company lying. Wow, an AI company lying. Wow, the same companies that do stock buyback programs and have all their friends in government, all kinds of laws to make it so it's impossible to compete with these guys unless you have a nuclear power plant. Oh, they lied? Oh, you don't say.
Solution leak means that the solution to the issue was clearly outlined either in the description of the issue or in a comment. And we see an example here where in that very issue, somebody actually said, well, you should use this and this, and pasted a code sample. And so obviously the model took that and wrote the solution. The second type of suspicious solution is an incorrect fix. Now, the incorrect fixes refer to the cases.
Of course it's like this. Of course it's like this. Look, all this AI programmer stuff is so far away in the future, if it's even possible at all, without having humans involved and understand how these machines are work and how they processing, what the limitations are, what their strengths are. Let's keep going.
Where the model will provide some sort of solution that will make the test pass, but it will actually be incorrect. So it tells more about the quality of the test suite than the accuracy of the model. And we can see here it's a clear example where the gold patch, the good solution was to return the reversed version of a dictionary, and what it did is actually return the keys. But somehow the test passed.
So basically, number one was that you give the model.
Of course, the test is testing the wrong shit.
The solution to the issue, which is kind of fake way to to analyze it. And the second one is that the test is so weak that even a solution that's not correct can pass.
Exactly.
Right, that's called a bad test. That even I understand Uncle Bob's TDD style, that you have to make the test fail first, because if the test passes without the code being correct, if it just passes out, well, what's the point of the test? This stuff is so ridiculous at this point. How anybody takes these people seriously? I guess it's just the manager of their 401ks, and they don't want to go look into this stuff. It's like, that's too hard. Oh, that makes me, I have to think about it. It means that I'm going to have to hire back these goddamn developers. I'm going to have to hire these developers back and eat crow, as they say. Oh, you're going to get rid of us next week? OpenAI released a new model. You think they can get rid of us and keep the money? Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah, sounds like a very confused junior dev. This was me back in the day. I could solve issues that I had a solution for, and I could solve issues in the wrong way if the tests were written poorly.
Number three,
of course, that is the process.
Was when the model went ahead and just modified something random in the code base that had nothing to do maybe with the issue, but somehow again it made the test. And so it would go
because the test was not failing to begin with. This is what you would call in the business a scam. This is a scam. Scam.
And modify like a totally different file, and then all of a sudden the test would pass, but who knows? I mean, this is Python code. If you're doing JavaScript, you can imagine the model going around and changing DOM or window object definitions or prototypes, and then somehow the test pass.
There's all kinds of ways to fake the test to make it pass. They fucked the test up.
But it didn't really fix it.
So basically, he's changing the rules, the boundary conditions of the problem, and then of course he gets the right answer.
Exactly. So,
so every single cheating trick in the book, OpenAI sign going, yeah, it's awesome. Let's keep doing it. It's great. It's gonna take over your job, guys.
It's definitely thinking outside the box. And then the last one would be an incomplete fix, where it will generate code that will lead to an incomplete implementation compared to the solution, the human solution, the gold patch is what they call. It would often just omit critical detail. Now, it would really code against the test, but the quality of the solution would be limited to the quality of the test. I haven't added the code.
Well, of course. Again, right? The definition of what these things are and what they're doing is, and the nitty gritty details are super important. They all skip over it because they got the big flashy headline that pumps their stock, because that's all they need to. That's all they need. They need to keep their stock price high until they can cash out and give the bag to somebody else, and they can run it down.
Bit here, but I'll link you up to the research paper.
So terrible. The society is cooked, man.
And you can see the examples there. Now, if we take all these four things into account and we start adjusting the real performance based on the fact that a lot of the solutions were not actually valid solutions, the performance of the models changes dramatically. And so for GPT-4o, the claimed performance on the SWE-bench website is 18.83%. You can actually check that over here. Go to SWE-bench.com and find it yourself. I took the full one. Okay. But the reality is that it goes down to 3.83% when we actually look at valid solutions, which is a very big difference. In the last month,
so 97% of the 96% of the solutions, and they're going, oh, it's going to take our jobs next week, guys.
Well, OpenAI claims they have a 49% difference. If we were to apply the same criteria, we'd probably bring that down to around 5 or 6%.
So basically, the benchmark it's fake, because these numbers won't impress any investor.
Yeah, it's fake, kayfabe, it's famous, it's flamoozle, it's scams. It's like the whole country has gotten stupid and thinking the highlights are like, they're going to be honest with us. They would never lie. It's like, come on, man.
That means the AI model, it's fixing about maybe 4 maximum, optimistically speaking, 4 out of 100
useless
issues that is
being confronted. For this type of thing, completely useless. And they're thinking like, oh, everybody's super scared, but you look into it because it takes weeks of researchers to go back into this stuff and realize, oh, they're lying just again. Why don't we just default? I don't know why this is such a scary thought. why don't we default to they're full of shit until they actually just demonstrate it, and I can then try out on my own that same stuff and not be every time somebody professional tries this stuff, it's all like, this is for kiddie moves. This is like to-do apps and ridiculous, like the simplest, dumbest shit that doesn't even take any thought power at all. Anything more than that, it's like, or it pushes you. No, we really need to go over here. It's like, that's not it. It's like, oh, you're right. That's not it.
And we're still talking about, a collection. We're not talking about the messy environment, which is a real environment, a human developer axiom.
Yeah, it's completely messy. The fact that any of this stuff works at all is just a testament to the heroic abilities of humans to work, cut through this complexity.
Talking about a very structured way, right? You have the GitHub issue and it's documented. That's not how most developers work, let's be honest.
Correct.
Right? And so, 3.83%. I think our job as software engineers are pretty safe.
Exactly. Anyone working in a dev team knows that fixing issues, it's usually the lowest effort work. It's a lot easier than building real features. So this is not the hardest.
It's all
thing
integrated. It's all in
But
there.
I think
You have to know all the details of all these things, or at least have something that abstracts it away and that you can rely on. That's why KMP, I'm loving KMP, because they've kind of thought a lot through all this junk.
The end of that,
a lot of it, so we don't have to worry about it. There's like other issues we have to worry about now.
paper, there was something about the cost, the financial cost, right? The monetary cost. How much computing power are we talking about for GPT-4o to solve those issues, right? You have the table there, nice. So what does this mean exactly?
So basically, they try to monitor the API cost that you incur of really solving that issue in the time.
Right. By creating mostly wrong answers, you're counting costs. Like for someone that doesn't gets the answer right 3%, 4% of the time. Isn't there a bigger cost of figuring out all the things they did wrong and fixing all the shit? Let's keep going.
We see that GPT-4 with SV agent didn't do pretty well. It took around $600 to solve a single issue. But Autocode Gover and GPT-4 did a bit better with 12.61 to solve an issue. Of course, if we adjust that to a 3.83 success rate, it would take you around $400 per issue solved.
If it solves it, but you're saying that it's solvable. I don't think that these things are not solvable, no matter how much money you throw at these damn things. Because if it was like 1% less, they would all the jobs would be gone by now. If it was 1% less cost, everybody would be fired. If they could still maintain the same level of quality and was just 0.01% less, everyone would be fired overnight.
30 trials in 2.5 hours of compute.
But again, if I'm a tech CEO, I pay $400 and I get one issue solved. For me, like compute power at the time, I mean, it can read while people are asleep, right?
And dicking with it and saying, oh no, what did you think about this? Oh, I forgot. Oh, you're right. It's like you're talking to a bullshit artist. But they're prompting a bullshit artist who's programmed to bullshit as much as possible till you and then agree with you when he found out. It's like, this stuff is scam city, man.
You can work at night. It's not a human, right? Humans are the problems. Humans are complex. It's what we are trying to get rid of. They are very expensive. I mean, average senior dev in the US, it's $160K up to, $350K.
Yeah, we bring the value, man. That's the whole thing, is we should be making at least double our value somehow. You better find a system that with all the training and the having to get stabilized and family and college funds and braces and new cars and vacations, you want and to put all the sacrifice that takes to get that level of skill together to be worth 100K, you gotta be doubling the value out, like 320K out, no problem. So you better find some customers you can interface and supply enough problem space that we can get a profitability out of that supplies that. It shouldn't be that difficult, especially with all these companies using all this old stuff that's like stagnant. They can't change it, and they're just locked in, frozen, like eyes, like a deer with eyes and little headlights. And you can just come on and snipe them, or take a slice of their business off. For the ones that are adventure driven.
150. So
which is all. I got a big playlist about adventure-driven development. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
still kind of makes sense financially. If you show this to a bunch of MBAs, which are the people running these companies, they're like, wow, this looks good, and it's only going to get better. But there's a catch, right?
Yes. The thing is, you need a complete test suite for those issues. You need
no. There's no such thing as a complete test suite. So this is where I'm gonna do a little pushback on SWE-dev. You'll never have a complete test suite for all the unhappy paths. There's something called the halting problem. I don't know if you've heard of it, SeniorDev. There's a thing called the halting problem. We will never have the problem space completely mapped out, all the exceptions. No. We can do a happy path. We can know what we expect, the ins and outs, what we expect. But the unhappy path, never.
Someone to open the issues. And you also need someone to tell you which solution was actually the correct one. Again, this was humans looking at the actual code. You couldn't really...
Right. You're going to have to still have humans somewhere in the loop for all of this. And the MBA types have heard that they can just replace a $500 computer, $500 a month, and can replace a $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month human. And you've told them all that all businesses are the same, and they can just plug in their solution space, and all they have to do is sell it to their customer, and they can get rid of this engineering human stuff. They're cooked, man. We should have no mercy at this point with this attitude that they immediately want to try and get rid of developers. We have to then readjust our cost basis working through these companies, or just take their lunch, man. Just take a slice off their business and implement it using Alan Kay's ways and Alan Kay's methods, so we can extend it and modify it, change it, and you have a small team, KMP developers, all the platforms, one core application, and take some of their business away from them, instead of trying to convince them that their approach is wrong and that they're never going to get rid of the software developers and quit trying, because otherwise we're just going to take your lunch, which is what we're going to do.
You just make the UI. If you make the model just commit to master without human review, you'll get an incorrect solution, and you have no way to know if that it's actually the correct or the wrong one.
So in this case, you either have an engineer would be the best. Maybe you have a product manager that knows the requirements, or if you really want your automated
or the product manager has to be technical enough to understand the solution space that these things are writing it for, and that's back to engineering again. You're not going to get away from it. Sorry.
Team, you have the user directly, you deploy the stuff to production, you get burned, and then you go back to the AI to fix it. But then you need to describe the AI what's exactly wrong, and you have all these layers of complexity. So what I see from my perspective is we created this very controlled environment, right, within software engineering, which is this very well-tested GitHub issues. It doesn't matter if they are 2,000, it can be 10,000. If someone wrote the test and basically wrote the solutions inside them, it doesn't matter, right? The sample is not relevant. And then we are measuring, right, the
I don't know what he means there.
Performance of those models against this very controlled environment that was built by human developers who completed the test with, open the issues, review the, and they tag the solution.
Right, and again, the source code and all the tests and all that stuff is even the top pyramid of this tacit knowledge triangle that's massive. That these MBA types, they have no idea how big it is, because their little pea brain, all they do is accounting. They have their triangle's like this big, and the solution space is huge, and the source code is just the particular experiments that we tried that we still have knowledge of inside the code base. The code base does not contain all the knowledge. And the MBA types, they don't want to hear that, man. The business types, they don't want to hear that. That freaks them out. It's like, we have to keep the humans around. Yes, you're going to have to keep human developers around. I know you want to get rid of them.
And then we're saying, we go out and say, hey, we're not going to have any software engineering 10 years from now. And I think,
yeah, see, that's what they're trying to say. It's like, oh, really? Really? And you're going to be running it with your lack of technical skill and technical ability? No. You understand? This is when the people who give a shit, that want to take it, that want to give, they care about this and are sick of dealing with people that think this way. We're going to take your lunch. How's that?
I think here's where the stupidity comes.
We're going to take your business away. Now you're going to get rid of all the developers. The developers are going to get rid of you guys.
And I understand it. Why? Because behind those companies, there are huge valuations. There's a big promise of AI solving humanity's problems.
And it won't. What we're going to do is we're going to have a bunch of developers who are going to solve their problem for them, which is like, hey, you can't get rid of people, man. People got to be part of this problem space. They've got to be in the solution space as well. You can't get rid of them. You can't treat them like a little cogs in the machine and like shit. We're going to take your businesses over, guys. You really think you're going to just do that to us? Really? The people who built the businesses that have been all this valuation, you think you just get rid of us like that? Come on now.
Right, and AI actually being smarter than humans at solving these problems. Right, so I understand why companies are pushing this propaganda, but I think the damage...
They think that they're going to be in charge of it. And they think that this thing is actually possible. And they think that if it was possible to have a machine intelligence as intelligent as a human being, that you think that the governments of the world are going to let you have access to that? Are you insane? Think it through, guys. The business people can't think this through, because this is an ontological, epistemological. Right down. This is an ontological, meaning the nature of being and relations of humans. Etymological, meaning the meaning of words. That you can actually define in words what these things mean. Good luck. Wittgenstein went through that pretty thoroughly and said you can't do that. So we're going to have a shared understanding that we negotiate through. You just can't dump us off and expect to get through this. And epistemological, which is the limits of knowledge. Like, there's limits to your knowledge, and limits to the things that can be known. And there's this intuitive space that all this stuff comes from that you can't get rid of. And if you try and get rid of us, we'll get rid of you. How's that? We just turn the tables on you. And you think the value came from all this other shit. And no, it's coming from humans. And you're going to pay dearly for this folly.
Is done on the human side, on the software engineers who are here on YouTube looking for information. Every influencer, it's kind of selling that this thing is huge, that AGI is coming. And people are making career choices based on this.
Right. And they're going to remember this and go, oh shit, they fucking lied about all that stuff. Yeah, they did. They lied. Oh, stock buyback people lied? No way.
skewed numbers. And I think
they exaggerated what was possible without having anything to show for it, and people believed it without even trying to test it. Really? Woo!
we are one of the few people that actually went, down the rabbit hole and looked at.
You're on the better. You're at this video with me because you're into this going down the rabbit hole with this stuff because it's retarded. It's so retarded. The business people who are pushing this stuff, this AGI stuff, are literally mental midgets, and they're gonna lose their businesses.
The numbers,
rightfully so, by the way, for pushing us out like that. Just instantly, just boom, done. It's like, whoa, hey, wait a second. Just a few minutes ago, we were a family, and we all needed each other. Gosh, our developers are our most prized possession. Our employees, like, screw that. These people showed their colors. You could directly compete with them, or when you are in these businesses with them, you have to soak them for all they're worth. You have to. Every period, every quarter, you have to try and get a raise and try and get other people eliminated at the company. These people have lost their stinking minds, man.
But I think the average dev, the problem is the average dev out there, it's not equipped to understand these numbers. Because when you do understand the numbers, you don't really care. You get back to getting better. And the problem with the ordinary developer is they don't have the time to go to the numbers, identify them, and they're just getting...
Right, but we have videos like this. We know people are doing this stuff. It's just finding the people who are going down the rabbit holes to prove what we already kind of know. It's like, you're not going to build a machine to do this shit, man.
I see a lot of people getting scared and thinking, hey, I invested so much into this career, and now it's all going down the tubes. Well,
no, that's the kayfabe. That's the famous. That's the marketing spiel that they stock pump program. This is the lies they're telling people, and people are believing it. And developers, because they don't really have enough way to like verify this stuff because it's happening so quickly, and the lies are so big, and the business people are like, yeah, get rid of those fucking developers, fuck them. We're like, whoa, what did we do? We built your company for you. No, we got it from here. We got the AGI. We're gonna get rid of you assholes. It's like, what? No, man, no.
We are here to tell you it's not. You can check the numbers, check the files, check the benchmarks yourself, and we invite you to look at them yourself, because there is, this emperor has no clothes, and you don't want to fall victim of these companies.
Yeah.
Here's my final message.
We're going to still use these tools, don't get me wrong, we're using them, but not for how they're saying we're getting rid of people. No, it's just a shortcut for documentation. Create it's an autocomplete, but it's not going to... You're not going to get rid of developers, you guys. Come on now. First of all, that's how anybody could possibly think that this is even realistic is just beyond me. It's like, it's obviously the dream of these managers that just want to check out and think they can have the machine do it. Send a fucking droid.
Just whenever a new model comes out, people throw at you this arbitrary numbers of performance, and it's really interesting to stop and really go down and analyze those numbers and really try to understand what do they mean, and remember that the result of a benchmark is as good as the benchmark itself.
And the first thing you folks are probably going to realize when you check the numbers, just like
benchmarks, goofy.
We did. It's, the emperor has no clothes. This is a big inflated valuation behind big companies, and you're going to come back to you. And what you have to do is you still have to get better. And that was the point of this video. The point of these videos is
you can use these tools to get better, make stuff, create stuff, and eventually take these companies down.
Get you folks focused back on the thing.
These people who got rid of all these developers who think they can just do that. And before they're fooling us saying we're family and we're all in here together, all that bullshit. Get out of here.
It doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, I don't know where AI, I don't know if that 3.8% is going to be 4.5 or 20%. But as this thing has been,
even if it's 99%, you're still gonna have to have a human. These people, man.
A few years ago, it feels like we are reaching a plateau in model development. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the S curve. We're hitting the part of the S curve. We hit that about a year ago, but they won't let it go. They won't tell anybody. No. We're right on the edge. We're on the cusp of super intelligence. All your developers, get the fuck out. These people are insane. They're literally insane.
Training to make the models better. But in the end, human supervision is still very much needed. And I think a lot of developers are wasting this opportunity, are getting distracted, and they're wasting this time instead of getting better at a point where the market itself is more competitive than ever. And it's not more competitive.
Exactly. Against those guys who've got rid of us. I'm a little salty, yes.
AI, it's more competitive because of many other factors. So what I would invite you is to get back to working on your skills, get back to planning your career, get back to thinking where am I at right now.
Okay,
and the best way for you to improve is first to get some clarity on what your technical gaps are. This is why Bogdan and I put together a 10 minutes free.
Okay, yeah. I can go over there and do that thing, whatever. But just the general idea is no, they're not getting rid of us. We get rid of them. All right, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll continue my rants.